You know, the thing about a shark, it's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you and those black eyes roll over white.
Just as good as Robert Shaw. How do we feel about sharks?
Well, I have seen a shark.
Yeah? What sort of shark have you seen?
It was a nurse shark. I mean,
yes.
It wasn't wild. It was, do you remember, well, I think they probably still do it every year in Freshers Week for the first years of the University of Hull. We got taken on a trip to the deep, which is a submararium in Hull. And
an aquarium, for people who aren't familiar with what a submararium is.
I think
there is only one, I think, in the world, isn't there?
Well, I don't know. At the time, there was. It's sort of an underground aquarium, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And obviously, we were all sitting there quite hungover. We'd been watched Jamila Jamil do some DJing the night before. And this was before she was a big star, really. And I remember one of the people who work in there telling us about how the nurse sharks used to just sit themselves on top of the pumps, the filters, so that they could have oxygenated water blown over the gills without having to bother swimming around. And I thought, that's a fish that I can appreciate.
Don't they do that anyway in the wild, though? They sit in currents, don't they? So that they don't have to expend much energy moving. If they want to rest or sleep or something. In the aquarium environment, they've worked out a way to do the same.
Mm.
I would love to see a basking shark, actually. Would be a dream of mine. Growing up on the Isle of Wight, I've heard lots of people who've seen them because we get them around there in the summer. And, my dad has been diving with them and or with one. And my granddad's seen one whilst fishing from a boat. So I've always been a bit jealous that they've seen these enormous sharks. But I haven't. I've only seen black-tip reef sharks in the wild. That was quite amazing, but they're, little things. They're not super exciting.
Why does it being little mean it's not super exciting? It's still got most of the exciting things about a shark, hasn't it?
Yeah, but in miniature scale. I think one of the most amazing things about sharks is how big they are.
Yeah.
And that also makes them, I think, potentially the scariest man-eaters out there. I think so. We're very much not aquatic organisms.
Yeah.
Some of us like to explore the oceans, and when I saw the black-tip reef sharks, that was when I was on a scuba diving trip. I've done a bit of scuba diving. But if something goes wrong in the water, the vast majority of your survival programming is just completely useless, I think.
Yeah, but you can just not go in the water.
That is true.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why I think the sharks, I'm not so worried about them.
Well, yeah. Okay, but do you go in the water?
Well, I mean, I do, but I wouldn't be taking risks like they do in Jaws.
We'll talk about Jaws later.
Like if a piece of seaweed wraps around my leg, I'm screaming I'm out. So I think a shark, I'm just not so worried about me coming into contact with them. And you can say the same about lions, sure, but they live on land, don't they? They live in our ancestral habitat.
But that is what I think is even scarier about a shark, is that if you're in a situation with a shark, even if, you never go in the water or whatever, fine, you can avoid them. But even the thought of just being in the water whilst a shark is attacking you, you can't run away. Your punches and your kicks are going to be slowed down in the water. You might not even know where the shark is and where the next bite's coming from. It can see you or detect you, but you can't see it. There's a lot of fear there, a lot of different types of fear, I think, that all merge together into this one big, oh my God, they're scary.
Yeah, they're scary. I'm not going to deny that. I don't know the scariest.
Okay. Before we kick off with some man-eating stuff, I just wanted to share a few little facts. I'm sure you'll have much better ones later on, but I thought the key things to get across at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more than 470 species of shark alive today, ranging in size from the gigantic 40-meter whale shark, huge animal, to the tiny 17-centimeter dwarf lanternshark. So a huge amount of variability.
Yeah.
And of all the species of shark there are, only 4 are responsible for a significant number of deadly attacks on humans. Do you want to have a go at getting them?
Well, I mean, I could guess, but I've looked at the table.
What table?
The table of shark attack deaths.
Oh, so you know.
I do. Well, I know the top 3. I only wrote down the top 3 because I thought it's, you know, 3.
So what are the top 3 then?
Number 1, I think what most people would have guessed, great white shark.
Of course. The most famous of all the sharks, I would say.
And with good reason, because, well, I was going to say they kill about 40% of shark attacks on humans are by the great white shark. But the problem with these numbers is, if a shark's coming at you, it's quite hard to identify what it is. And if it eats you, then it's very hard to report what it was. But like, people could say, oh, that was a hammerhead or whatever. But there's a lot of sharks that they look like sharks, don't they?
Yes, not everybody's an oceanographer.
Yeah.
And can identify a shark. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of them are probably a bit finger in the air, actually, in terms of what shark species it was that attacked.
Yeah, if I was going to choose a shark that had attacked me, I would say great white shark as well. So it's not surprising that one's the top of the list.
No, it's the biggest of the deadly ones. All right, so that's number 1, great white, correct. What's the other 3?
Number 2, tiger shark.
Tiger shark, yes.
Yeah.
Scary species, for sure.
They're apparently named tiger sharks because they've got, well, as you can probably guess, dark stripes like a tiger. But I don't think they look like tiger stripes at all. I'd say it looks like a shark with stretch marks. Which I think is a perfectly good common name, the stretch mark shark. I don't know why they didn't go for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Bull shark.
The bull shark, yeah.
Yeah. So there's quite close, actually, between tiger shark and bull shark. They're both around 15%.
Is that right?
Yeah. And on the Florida Museum's page, on their bull shark page, they say, fun fact, bull sharks were blamed for a series of attacks in 1916, which served inspiration for Peter Benchley's book Jaws, which Steven Spielberg turned into a blockbuster movie in 1975. So they're like the famous Jersey Shore shark attacks. But I don't know what qualifies that to be a fun fact. And it's not even a fact because they don't know for a fact it was a bull shark. It could have been great white. I mean, it was in Jaws.
We're going to talk about the 1916 Jersey Shore shark attacks. That's hard to say. 1916 Jersey Shore shark attacks. That is hard to say. And the 4th species, you don't know.
No, I don't know that one.
It is the oceanic white tip.
Ah.
Yeah. And this is actually, so I would say the great white, the tiger shark, and the bull shark, similar looking animals, I reckon. But the oceanic white tip actually I think has a few things that separates it. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
I think they're very, very cool looking, actually. Here he is.
I mean, it's definitely a shark. I wouldn't look at it and think it's not a shark. It's maybe a little more torpedoed.
What I really like about them, the rounded fins. You see how they're rounded? They don't really go into points. And obviously you see the white tip at the top of they're big fins as well. Those flippers, I don't know what you call them. The front ones that it uses as arms. Those are particularly long, I think.
Yeah, they are. They look long to me, but it's hard to tell the scale, right?
So yeah, those are the 4: the great white, the tiger shark, the bull shark, and the oceanic white tip. Although it's worth noting that despite all 4 of those having attacked, killed, and eaten people, they have all been filmed by divers without use of a protective cage.
Well, that's
risky job, eh?
If that's what you want to do with your life, then
Yeah.
sure, do it. But the table that I was looking at was unprovoked shark attacks. So I think keep away from the big four.
Yeah, definitely keep away from the big four. Okay. Like, for sure. If you have a protective cage with you, use it.
Well, a lot of good that did. Hopper.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm sure you'll have some great shark science for us later.
Yeah.
But I can tell you're itching to talk about Jaws.
Well, it's hard to talk about sharks without talking about Jaws.
So I asked you to do a little bit of additional research for this episode. And I think for context for the listeners who aren't familiar with us, you hate movies.
Mm-hmm.
You never watch movies.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in lockdown, right? So I thought, make the effort. I'll watch something about sharks. And I said Sharknado or Jaws. And you said Jaws.
100%.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. What did you think of Jaws?
I thought it was all right. I mean, it was very stressful in the last 15 minutes. The rest of it, I don't know what everyone finds so scary.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's very scary. It's that whole thing of the shark being able to see the people below the surface, coming up at them. That's scary.
Yeah, and as always, is it John Williams, the soundtrack?
Yes.
Well, it's perfect. Really builds the tension.
Yeah.
But then it's just a movie about killing a fish, isn't it?
It is.
It's a hard subject matter when you think about it.
I love how it's ages until you actually see the shark. And then when you see the shark for the first time and it's swimming into that little freshwater area. Is it a freshwater area or something?
Yeah, they call it the pond or the pool or something, don't they?
Yeah. It's huge. I remember seeing that for the first time and that sort of sending shudders down my spine. Shivers, not shudders. That would be...
It is very big.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I don't know whether that makes it more scary, though.
Well, when I watched it for the first time as well, I sort of thought it was going to be as violent as, say, Jurassic Park. But
it's more violent than Jurassic Park.
I think it's absolutely brutal. Some of the scenes are horrible. But I think it's a really, really good movie. I think it is brilliant.
I thought it was good. But I thought, you don't really need the first... Actually, the first bit was interesting, especially in the current climate, where they were all like, "Oh no, we don't want to shut the beach. Got to make money."
Mm-hmm.
That's very coronavirus, isn't it? Very topical.
Yes. Well, Boris Johnson famously has said that the mayor in Jaws is a personal hero of his because he keeps the beaches open. Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't know that, but it's not a great surprise, is it?
No, it's not. Well, I'm glad you liked it. That's good.
I liked it. I mean, there were parts of it that were very gruesome. It was actually quite scary at the end.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a person who's easily scared by films, but I just thought they were all going to die.
What, when they're trying to kill it?
Well, when they're in the boat and it basically deconstructs an entire boat.
Yes, yeah.
I thought, they've had it now, haven't they?
Anyway, it's classic. It's, it does suspense so well, I think. And, very few films can claim to have had the cultural impact that Jaws has had.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We're all scared to go in the water. But anyway, the reason I asked you to watch Jaws is because it's actually a piece of what I would consider genuine man-eating history, I guess, or a fictionalization, because as you mentioned earlier on, the film is, of course, fictional, but, and they've made the shark bigger and badder than any modern-day species of shark, but it is based on real events, or inspired by real events, and two events, in fact. And before I talk about these, actually, I've had feedback from our super fan, Soloni.
Okay.
Who was a big fan of Generic Drift, and she's successfully migrated with us to ManEating Podcast. She said that although she really enjoyed the first episode, it wasn't scary enough.
Right.
So I'm going to underlay...
Boo!
Very good. But I'm going to underlay maybe some ominous music, underneath this bit.
Okay.
And I might even fade it in and out so people know when it's scary and when it isn't. Anyway, so the first of the two events that inspired Jaws is the 1916 Jersey Shore shark attacks, when a heat wave and polio epidemic drove huge quantities of people in the US to coastal resorts. And over the course of 12 days in July, 5 people were attacked along the New Jersey coastline. The first victim was 23-year-old Charles Van Sant, who had gone for a swim with his dog. He was a holiday maker, he'd come down, he was staying in a hotel on the beach, and witnesses watched him as he was shouting and screaming, and they thought he was just shouting at the dog, but actually it turned out he was being attacked by a shark, and the shark was biting his legs. He was later rescued and pulled out of the water by some lifeguards, but not before the shark had stripped all of the flesh from his left thigh, and he later bled to death on the manager's desk in the hotel that he was staying at.
They should have taken him to a hospital.
Yeah, well, I think they probably were, but, you know, they might have called an ambulance.
Well, I imagine he was in shock.
Yeah.
Just had all of his thigh stripped. Doesn't sound nice.
According to the lifeguard that pulled him out of the water, the shark was following them back to the shore as well. So he wanted him. Anyway. 5 days later, a woman reported screams to a lifeguard and reported what she said was an upturned canoe with a red hull floating off the shore. Lifeguards rowed out to the scene and discovered 27-year-old Charles Bruder, who had been bitten on the abdomen, severing both of his legs. And he died of blood loss before the boat had even returned to the shore. So that red canoe was actually his body.
Oh, I thought it was the body of the shark with just blood in its mouth.
Could have been that.
Because sharks are a bit more canoe-shaped than the average human.
You're right, actually.
I mean, I haven't seen a picture of this guy. Maybe he was very canoe-shaped. But I think, I'm not sure.
Anyway, 5 days after this, a group of boys were playing in a place called Matawan Creek, which is an offshoot of a bay in the north of Jersey. Quite unusual for sharks to be spotted there because it's a creek, it's brackish, it's not necessarily, it's more freshwater than the sea. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the children spotted what they described as a weathered log before then noticing that it had a dorsal fin and was swimming at them. Mm-hmm. As the group of boys raced to get out of the creek, 11-year-old Lester Stillwell was pulled underwater. The remaining boys all ran to get help and found a group of adults. And 24-year-old Watson Fisher, who was a local businessman, dived into the water and located the boy, amazingly, and began bringing him back to the shore. But then he was bitten by the shark himself in front of all of the onlookers. He dropped the boy, and he later died of blood loss while the boy's body was found 2 days later. Yeah. And then the final attack occurred just 30 minutes later, about half a mile away from that location. And 14-year-old Joseph Dunn was bitten on his left leg. He was pulled out of the water and rescued by his brother and a friend and transferred to hospital, like your recommendations.
Yes, that's my top tip.
Mm-hmm. Where he made a full recovery.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, all of these attacks, they are a little bit less gruesome than Jaws, aren't they? Because, this is a little bit of leg, maybe both legs, an abdomen.
One person's had both of their legs severed. That's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, but I think in Jaws, some of them are completely swallowed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. The thing about Jaws then is, that the shark goes into the pond, as they call it. Mm-hmm. It's a almost a sort of brackish freshwater area or whatever. And there's obviously a group of boys playing there. That must be directly inspired by this.
Yes, definitely.
Event. Yeah.
They should have said, "Oh, there's a weathered log."
I
mean, I don't know how you mistake a shark for a weathered log. A crocodile, yeah, sure.
Okay. Well,
they were kids.
Like I said, not everybody's an oceanographer.
Yeah, and they didn't have TV or anything, did they? So
precisely.
Probably never seen a shark.
Before this, apparently Americans didn't think that a shark could even inflict a wound that could kill a human. Before this. This event actually revolutionized scientific understanding of sharks and actually that they are a danger to humans. Lots of people actually didn't believe that this could have even been the work of sharks, which seems preposterous to us now. We now know, of course, sharks can attack humans. But anyway,
if somebody came to me saying, "Oh, I was bitten by something I thought was a weathered log," I would say, "Not a shark."
Crocodile, perhaps.
Yeah, crocodile. In a brackish pond.
Maybe it was an alligator then, or a crocodile, I don't know. Anyway, 2 days after the fifth attack, a young great white shark was caught near Matawan by Michael Schlesser. This guy is fascinating. He was a taxidermist and a lion tamer for the circus, Barnum Brothers or whatever they are. Anyway, inside the shark's stomach was a fleshy material that scientists later identified as human remains. And no shark attacks were reported after that great white was caught.
I mean, circumstantial, isn't it? Like, there's five victims, sorry.
5 victims in total. Yeah, I mean, four separate events, but yeah, 5 victims. And lots of people are unconvinced, actually, that this great white was responsible for all of the attacks, as it is, as I say, unheard of, perhaps even impossible for them to enter these creeks and more freshwater areas. So some people believe that there were several sharks responsible, including bull sharks, which are known to inhabit freshwater areas. Whereas others think that actually at least one of the attacks may have been inflicted by a disgruntled sea turtle.
Which one in particular? Like
the one where his legs were severed.
Oh, come on.
I know, that's a shark, isn't it? Come on.
Well, I mean, that's the one. Shark. Like, I can see a sea turtle, they've got reasonably big mouths. Like, if you've got a decent bit of ab to grab onto, maybe. They've got like a beak, haven't they?
Yes, they do. And they eat coral, so they've got a lot of power in their beak.
Yeah. But I think I could take a sea turtle.
Do you?
Yeah. Just push its head back in its shell.
I don't know if you could. I actually think that they probably are capable of inflicting serious damage, but I don't buy that they severed the legs of a human being. I don't buy that. I only really
and this is one of the people.
It was funny.
When did he die?
On the way back to shore.
See, he would have said.
It was a turtle.
It was a turtle. People know turtles well enough to maybe he would have said tortoise by mistake, but we would have known what he was talking about. They wouldn't have been confusing it with a shark.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe he had shell shark.
They are quite canoe-like, actually. The top of its shell.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Anyway, that's the first event and probably the most famous set of shark attacks in history. But also, there's a second event. And actually, this one is mentioned directly within Jaws by Quint, the shark hunter. And it's the sinking of the USS Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard scene to watch.
So this ship was torpedoed by the Japanese towards the end of World War II. It was hit by 2 separate torpedoes. And within 12 minutes, it had sunk.
I mean, they were delivering atomic bombs to bomb the Japanese.
They had just delivered, I think.
Yeah.
The Fat Boy bomb, I believe, which was dropped on Hiroshima.
More on atomic bombs later.
Oh, excellent. That's interesting. So anyway, the ship, the USS Indianapolis, had almost 1,200 crew on board. And because it sank so quickly, actually 300 went down with the ship, leaving around 900 in the water. Very few life rafts to go around, very few life jackets, so people just bobbing in the open ocean. Survivor accounts recall that it wasn't long before the sharks turned up, and the majority of them are not believed to have been the infamous great white, or the tiger shark, or the bull shark, but rather the oceanic white tip, which oceanographer Jacques Cousteau once described as the most dangerous of all sharks.
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised that the sharks turned up quite fast. I mean, this is more knowledge I've got from Jaws, so it might not be scientifically accurate. But when they say, like, humans splashing in the sea, it's the exact kind of thing that attracts them. You know, it's going to make more of a splash when a vessel carrying 1,200 people goes down, isn't it?
Definitely.
A torpedo.
Definitely.
Maybe they mistook the torpedo for another shark and we're just following it. Similar
Perhaps,
shape.
But it is a similar shape. So because the oceanic white tip tends to inhabit deep oceans, like open oceans, rather than coastlines, when they do attack humans, it's often going to be on survivors of shipwrecks, castaways, people in the open ocean. And of course, those attacks tend to go unreported. They're not recorded. So actually, many people believe that the oceanic white tip is the most prolific man-eating shark that there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got shared responsibility there, right?
What do you mean?
Whoever's made you shipwrecked in the first place, and then you get eaten by sharks. Well, probably we're going to die anyway. You're in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. But
get it over quick. Just get eaten by a shark.
I don't know if it is that quick, getting eaten by a shark. I don't think a shark just comes up to you and swallows you. I think it comes up to you, inflicts a wound on you, and then swims away and just, goes around and round and round you. Maybe comes back for another bite,
Yeah, but is it?
That's a horrible way to go.
A bit faster than hypothermia, surely.
Yeah, or starvation. It's still, I reckon it's incredibly painful, terrifying.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anyway, back to the crew in the water. So on the first night, the sharks focused on the dead bodies that were floating in the water. But it wasn't long before they turned their attention to the living. They started picking off the isolated individuals, people that were bobbing on their own, or those on the edge of groups. And the crew began to isolate themselves from people with open wounds. They would occasionally, when somebody died, they would push them out as almost a sacrifice to the sharks, hoping to get some sort of reprieve from the attacks. And for days, this continued with them in the water, suffering from exposure, hunger, thirst. One group opened a tin of Spam that they had rescued from the ship, but quickly threw it away when the smell of the meat attracted a large group of sharks. And
well, I mean, you hear it's blood, don't you? I don't know whether that's an old wives' tale, but
yeah,
that they can smell a drop of blood.
Of course, they can detect blood, but meat is going to have the same effect. Surely.
I mean, it's hardly meat, is it?
I don't know. I've never had Spam.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind it.
You love Spam.
I think it's quite nice and it's very cheap, but I don't think a shark could have it. Not when there's all them humans in the water. Like, there's so much more meat on a human than in a tin of Spam.
I reckon Spam would attract a shark.
Okay.
Anyway, with nothing to drink, lots of the survivors began to drink the seawater around them, which of course gave them salt poisoning, driving them mad and causing them to froth at the mouth. It wasn't until 4 days after the sinking a Navy plane spotted the survivors in the water. They then signalled a rescue, which turned up several hours later, dropping survival supplies, life rafts in the water. And all of the survivors were pulled from the water later that night. Now, of the original 1,197 crew on board, only 317 survived.
how many went with sharks?
It's hard to know exactly how many were killed by sharks, but estimates go as high as 150 people killed by sharks, with many more ending up as shark food after they died from other causes. And the sinking remains the greatest loss of life at sea in US Navy history.
Wow. They haven't been doing it for that long, have they?
That's quite significant, though.
Yeah, it's big,
800
but
people dying.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, there we go. 2 tales of man-eating sharks, both American-based. You know, I wish I could have gone a bit broader afield. I'm sorry about that. I reckon we could do a whole new episode on sharks and shark attacks. There's so many I'd love to talk about.
I think the Jersey Shore tale is slightly scarier. Because that's like, just people chilling out at a beach, right? Getting eaten by a shark. That's something that could realistically happen to me.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, I guess I could be on a boat and it get missiled by some enemy power, but it seems unlikely.
It is unlikely that you would end up in the middle of the ocean unless you're like a sailor or something.
Yeah.
But it's still, what's so scary about that is that they were in the water with the sharks for 4 days.
Yeah, watching their colleagues getting ripped apart by a shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. It must have been terrifying. But of course, all of these events are incredibly rare. So, probably is safe to go back in the water, but scary.
As you said earlier, but I've got a few interesting facts about them, so I'm going to bring them up again. So they range in size from the very biggest fish, the whale shark, which can weigh in at a scale destroying 3,000 stone.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? 19 tons.
That is huge. 3,000.
3,000 stone. I mean, don't worry if you're thinking that they're going to be offended by me talking about the weight on the internet, because apparently they have thicker and tougher skin than any animal in the world.
Okay.
On the backs, anyway, but I am talking about them behind the backs.
Thicker skin.
No, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. But also I get the double meaning, yeah.
And whale sharks seem all right, actually. Pretty docile.
I would love to swim with a whale shark.
Mm-hmm. I've seen pictures of people doing it.
Yeah. A whale shark and a manta ray would be my absolute dream. Yeah.
Well, whale sharks just basically open the massive mouths and swim around eating plankton, right? I think most people would probably recognise a whale shark because they've got that spotty pattern. So that's probably for camouflage, although what's eating a whale shark?
Camouflage?
Camouflage, yeah, that's what I thought when I read it. What the hell is coming for it? But apparently they found remains of whale sharks inside blue sharks and this massive marlin. Yeah.
A massive marlin?
Marlin, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, they can be quite scary, marlins.
That's like a swordfish, yeah?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But the spotty pattern is also useful for scientists because allegedly the patterns are unique to each animal.
Like a fingerprint.
Yeah, a shark equivalent of a fingerprint. That's how everybody on the internet's described it. And I was like, okay. I don't know whether this has just come from somewhere.
Is that not true of all patterns on animals? Is that unusual or unique to the whale shark? Is not each zebra unique or each tiger?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know whether anyone's looked at them close enough to judge that. But I think it is slightly different to I don't know, you could ruffle a tiger's fur and it look slightly different.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not suggesting you do that.
Not unless it's crippled.
Yeah. So then on the other end of the scale from whale sharks, you've already mentioned the smallest species as well. It's the dwarf lanternshark.
Lovely name.
Lovely name. And as the name would suggest, lanternshark, it's one of the shark species that's capable of bioluminescence. Lovely. Or glowing in the dark. So this is also for camouflage, but it's a bit more reasonable because it's only a little 8-inch fish. And so it has these little light-emitting organs along its belly and its fins. So that means if a predator's looking at it from underneath in shallow water, because its bottom's lit up, it'll sort of blend into the sky more.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when it's in deeper water, like little animals, you know what they're like when the light's on.
What do you mean, little animal? Oh, what, to catch predators?
Yeah, just like...
to catch prey, yeah.
Yeah, just come swarming around and then they can nibble
like
off you little tasty
like a moth
snacks.
to the flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there are moths.
Fish are like that, aren't they? The underside of a fish is lighter, the top side is darker. So from above, they blend in with the colour of the depths, and from below, they blend in with the colour of the shallows in the sky.
Yeah, counter shading,
yeah. What's it called?
Counter shading.
Counter shading, okay. So this lantern shark has taken that to the extreme, and it actually lights up its underside to blend in with the higher water.
Yeah. But I mean, neither of those species are very dangerous, right? It's not... You could get eaten by a whale shark. I don't think it's ever been documented. But you could fit in its mouth.
Could you?
Oh, I think so. If you can fit in a great white shark's mouth.
I don't know if you can fit in a great white shark's mouth. I think you have to be chewed up.
I feel like I could get in a whale shark's mouth.
I will set up a GoFundMe and we will
Not
see.
a live one.
Okay.
But if we went to, I don't know, some museum, because they have like the big megalodon mouths, don't they? The skeleton of the megalodon mouth.
Oh, you could swim in a megalodon's mouth.
Oh, definitely.
Sure. Yeah.
You mentioned briefly shark skin before. Have you seen pictures of shark skin close up? It's really cool, actually.
Yes, they look like little teeth, don't they? Are they called
Not
denticles?
Mine, like the little teeth of something with very sharp teeth.
A little shark teeth.
Yeah, little shark teeth, basically.
Yeah. Are they called denticles?
They are called denticles.
And they overlay each other like scales, right? Yeah?
Yeah, exactly like scales, yeah.
Yeah.
From a distance, I think a shark skin looks like a rubber glove, right?
Go on.
Perfect. No, like a rubber glove. There's no joke there. That's what I think it looks like. Like a marigold.
Really?
Yeah, like perfectly smooth.
Oh, from a distance?
Yes.
A rubber glove?
Yeah, like you feel like if you stroked a shark, you'd have that sort of rubber glovey feeling. Is that just me?
That's very much not what I would expect.
What would you expect?
Like an avocado. But
the inside?
A more uniform... No, the outside. An avocado skin, but more uniform. Less, random.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never stroked a shark. I've stroked a dolphin.
Yeah, that I feel would be like a rubber glove.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of like a rubber glove. Anyway, these denticles. So not only do they look like teeth, they're incredibly similar to our teeth. They're also made of dentine and something close to enamel. The same thing as our teeth. And over the course of evolution, these denticles have evolved to help the sharks survive and thrive, right? They have little ridges on them that are really quite specialized, and they can reduce drag in the water by up to 10%.
Okay.
So like there are engineers and scientists all over the world trying to make shark skin inspired materials to make boats and planes and stuff that are more efficient.
Wow, that's amazing. So shark skin is more efficient than the hull of a boat.
Well, the hull of a boat, sometimes how there's like ridges on the front of a boat.
No, I'm not sure what you mean there.
Like, well, trust me, there's ridges on the front of a boat. I don't know how to describe. Like, it's not perfectly smooth. There will be often the ridges on it to reduce drag. And this is the same as the ridges on the denticles. Like, it's a similar sort of idea.
Oh, right.
Now, but we all know about climate change, don't we?
Yes.
Humans have put massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and that's leading to increasing temperatures, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But as well as that, the carbon dioxide dissolves into the water. And
of course.
Yeah, it's gradually making it more and more acidic. So just like our teeth are damaged by things like Coke or sparkling water, which are fizzy and acidic, because we've infused...
Sparkling water is not acidic.
No, it is acidic. Of course it's acidic.
Sparkling water?
It's water infused with carbon dioxide. How do you think it sparkles?
I didn't know it was acidic.
I mean, I think there is some debate out there how bad sparkling water is for your teeth, but it's worse than water.
Okay.
Probably better than Coke.
A lot better than Coke.
No, I don't know a lot better than Coke.
The sugar in Coke rots your teeth.
Well, yeah, and the acid.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay, sorry, yeah.
And just like it happens to our teeth, which are made of very similar things to these shark denticles, scientists are worried that a similar sort of thing could happen to shark skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these denticles could become corroded and weakened, and that could interfere with these very specialized patterns that they're in with these ridges, and could affect how efficiently they can swim and hunt.
Oh my gosh.
And because a lot of the sharks are apex predators, that could have rippling effects throughout marine ecosystems, right?
Yes, you'd have explosions of certain species that sharks feed on, which would be devastating. I
mean, luckily, they're probably all going to die because of the other effects of climate change.
What, all the other fish?
Well, yeah, possibly. I mean, but the sort of... people think about coral bleaching a lot, right?
Yes.
But that's one of the iconic sort of images of the
ocean
Anthropocene,
acidification, yeah.
Yeah, and
the Great Barrier Reef being bleached and dying.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to be rude to corals, but especially not because your nan's called Coral.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't be rude to her.
But as far as animals go, they're boring, aren't they?
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. They're so pretty.
Well, yeah, they're pretty.
They're like the flowers of the ocean.
Mm.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah,
corals are lovely. And not only are the corals lovely, but the things that live amongst them are lovely.
Well, I think that this could be a more iconic image anyway, like a shark's tooth skin being degraded. Like, you could do that science experiment that every primary school kid does in the UK, where you put a shark in a glass of Coke. One of the little 8-inch ones. And you go back the other night and there's no shark left.
Apart from maybe the cartilage.
Yeah, it'd probably be fine, actually.
That's a great campaign idea, actually.
I don't think Coke could agree to it.
No, I don't think so.
You'd have to use, like, I don't know, my mum's cola.
Yeah.
What was it called? Like the Panda Cola?
Panda Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that, though. I can see somebody like Greenpeace doing that. That's a good idea for a campaign.
Anyone listening, I mean, unless Harvey wants to do it, you're welcome to have it.
Yeah, okay. But you know, there's so many things we don't know about them still.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's so many mysteries. For example, isn't one of the oldest living organisms a Greenland shark or something that's several hundred years old?
Yeah, so a team in 2016 estimated one of their Greenland sharks had lived for about 392 years.
Yes.
And the upper range of that estimate was like 512 years. That's half a millennium.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know? Now, what can we learn about that? There must be, how is it managing to survive so long when almost no other organisms can survive that long?
Well,
particularly not animals.
Well, I know it's the vertebrate with the longest lifespan.
But it also feels so unusual for an animal to reach such a long age, you know?
Have you not read the Bible? We used to do it all the time.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But, you know, even when you think of long-lived vertebrates, like the tortoise, for example, you probably associate that with 100 years, maybe 200 years, most extreme. This thing's nearly 400 years old, at least.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, I hate to bring it back to Jaws again, but one of the things that the main character, the chief.
Yeah.
Was it Chief?
Brody, yeah,
that's it. He's gone to the library or something and somehow managed to source lots of literature on sharks. And he's reading these books and he's talking to his missus. And he says something like, they don't know anything about sharks. They don't even know how long they live. As if that's like the easiest thing in the world to figure out. Like, I mean, how long does a human live, really?
I'm going to say approximately 70 years.
Yeah, but it's 0 to 120, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but you want an average.
Yeah,
I think it's easy to work out an average for most animals. You observe a sample of them and then take an average.
Yeah, but so, okay, you go to your pond, you pull a fish out. How do you know how old it is?
Actually, I do know this because I did.
Do, I remember.
Yeah. I remember you can do it with the ear bones of a fish because they grow quite like a tree does in that they produce little rings. Because during periods of maybe cold weather, their growth is slightly stunted, and during periods of warm weather, their growth is exaggerated. So then you can actually see those periods recorded in the ear bones of a fish. So, that's what you do. You chop the fish's head off, you examine the bone under a microscope, and you count the little rings.
Yeah, otoliths they're called. So that's like little lumps of calcium carbonate, right, that build up in the ear. But sharks don't have those, unfortunately. So instead, shark scientists usually, they used to, count the like calcified bands on the vertebrae. So it's a similar sort of thing, but it's more of an art than a science, really. Like, firstly, we're not really sure whether they build up one band a year or one band every 2 years. So that could cause a high margin of error if something's living for a long time, right? And they say that in older sharks, the bands don't really correspond to the age. But this is something that a lot of people have been working on. And recently we've got some new lines of evidence. In the 1940s, we started testing atomic bombs. And one of the side effects of this was a massive increase of carbon-14 or radiocarbon in the atmosphere. Now, we're all built of carbon. We've built ourselves partially using this carbon-14. And because we know how fast carbon-14 decays into nitrogen, we can use it as a marker to determine the age of things. So a team got some whale shark vertebrae from Taiwan and Pakistan and used them to calculate the growth rate of the shark. Now, the samples that they had died when they were reasonably young. Like, one of them was 30 years old, one of them was 50 years old, which is, okay, it's a pretty long time, but it's unlikely that those lived to their maximum natural lifespan because they weren't as big as some whale sharks that have been observed. And the authors estimate, based on their growth rate that they calculated, that they could live for between 100 and 150 years. So, I mean, compared to the Greenland shark, it doesn't seem that great, right? But, I mean, 150 years is a long time.
That is a long time. That's still a long time. I'd be happy to live to 150.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'd be very bored. So it's funny that the atomic bomb, radioactivity, has come back into the shark story again, right?
So the bomb that the USS Indianapolis dropped off the parts for has enabled us to learn more about the creatures that killed the crew of that ship.
Yeah. But I don't think they've done it on the white tip, but I think it was mostly like all the testing of the atomic bombs. Obviously, we haven't set that many off as an attack, but like, I mean, the UK, France, USSR, North Korea, now India, Pakistan, like, they were all from the 40s onwards messing around with it, weren't they? So
that is really interesting. So I can't find a definitive answer, but according to various sources, there are between 4 to 10 fatalities worldwide, on average, each year from shark attacks, which is, of course, a tiny percentage of people in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, it's nothing.
It is nothing. You are far, far, far more likely to die of drowning or a car accident, heart disease, something like that. But I thought we could turn this into a little game. So using the resource 101 Crazy Ways to Die by Matt Roper, which is a book that I will link in the description. I've not read it, but I've got some key ones from there. I'm going to pose some fatal situations to you, and you need to tell me whether you think they are more likely or less likely than death by shark?
Okay, this is a good game.
Okay, so let's use an average of between 4 and 10 to get the number of people killed by sharks each year.
Right.
So let's say 7. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Stray golf balls.
Less
Likely.
because I've been hit by a golf ball, and I've lived to tell the tale. I mean, I know that people get bitten by sharks and don't die, but yeah, less.
More likely than death by shark. So stray golf balls apparently kill hundreds of people every year.
Really?
Yeah. Well, according to Matt Roper in 101 Crazy Ways to Die.
Kill them?
Yeah. I can see that, because imagine you were quite close and the swing was wrong.
Yeah.
And so that golf ball just comes flying at you. Let me see. Fastest golf ball speed is 226 miles per hour.
Well, why do they let people go and watch golf then?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps they should put little barriers up. I don't know. But more likely than death by shark.
Okay.
Car park barriers.
I mean, I can't see any mechanism for obviously, all of these things are things that people have died from, but like a collision, maybe less.
It is less likely than death by shark, yeah, but only just. Roughly 6 people die every year when car park barriers fall on their heads.
Maybe car park barriers are made of I always feel like you can just drive through them, right?
You could drive through them. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. Some of those like pole ones.
Yeah, they're heavy, I think.
Yeah, they look like real metal. Like that. Yeah, okay. Well, if I'd have thought of the pole one, I would have probably said more, but go on.
No, 6 people a year. I suppose your chances are more increased if you're driving a convertible or a moped or something. Drive appropriate cars when going into car parks. All right, last one. Champagne corks.
This, I think, is probably quite dangerous. But I don't think it goes as fast as a golf ball. That's what I'm trying to gauge it there. Like, it's not coming out at 200 miles an hour, is it?
I don't know. A cork can leave a bottle of champagne at a speed of 55 miles per hour.
I mean, yeah, a car would kill you if it hit you at 55. Well, it might not. For a little cork, I'm going to say, but a shark, you're not very likely to get killed by a shark. Exactly. I'm going to say more.
It is actually much more likely than death by shark. 24 people every year meet their end from projectile champagne corks, which I think is particularly tragic because, of course, if you're popping a bottle of champagne, you're probably celebrating something.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, perhaps even celebrating surviving that shark attack. Yes, so unfortunately, it's actually shark attacks are so rare that it's actually quite difficult to find common causes of death that occur less frequently. So you know, vending machines, taking selfies, lightning strikes are all far more likely to kill you than a shark attack. But then, of course, in the meantime, humans are responsible for killing upwards of 100 million sharks every year. That's an estimation. People think it could be significantly higher as well.
Well, plenty more fish in the sea.
Well, not for long, apparently. And, you know, we talked a lot about Jaws this episode. And, of course, Peter Benchley, the author of the original novel, very famously regretted later in life his sensational portrayal of sharks.
Oh, yeah, sure he did.
Well,
does he have many other big books?
Yeah, he's got a few. In fact, I think he used sharks in a lot of them. He said later in life, he said, "Today I could not portray the shark as a villain, especially not as a mindless omnivore that attacks
I don't think it seems mindless. I mean, I haven't read the book, but in the film, it seems so intelligent. It seems intelligent.
It seems hell-bent on killing people.
Well, you need a bit of intelligence to do that.
I don't think he means like mindless in that sense. He means like mindless omnivore that attacks boats and humans with reckless abandon. That's what he said, actually. That is exactly what he means, because that's the quote.
Yeah, it's a bit J.K. Rowling, isn't it, then?
What do you mean?
Well, like when she goes around being like, oh, well, Harry Potter says this. Dumbledore's a homosexual. Well, Izzy, just leave it alone. You've got your money.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, he said the shark in an updated Jaws could not be the villain. It would have to be written as the victim. For worldwide, sharks are much more the oppressed than the oppressors.
I think his conscience is pretty clean because it's Steven Spielberg's fault.
He wrote the book.
I'm sure it might be a popular book, but the film's much more popular, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a book.
Me neither.
Mm.
And I'm a reader. I can't imagine it's a very interesting book.
I don't know. I might give it a read.
Anyway, do you think...
Go on.
Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was going to ask you if you think you could fight off a shark attack.
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought, actually, before we leave, we should probably take a look at WikiHow.
Yeah, I was hoping we would.
But before that, it would be good to compare strategies for how we would fight off a shark. I honestly think if I was in the water with a shark, it depends where I am. If I was scuba diving, I'd feel much more safe. Because I think when you're below the surface, you can see where the shark is. I feel much more safe than just bobbing on the surface. Where's the shark? What's going on? I felt something bite me. I'm really scared, And it also depends what instruments I had with me. If I had a spear gun, for example, I might feel a bit safer, or a knife. But if I was just going for a swim and caught unawares, then no. I read about the story of a couple of free divers, who were diving for abalone. Is it abalone? Is that what it's like a...
Mussels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So some sort of...
scallops, right? Like something like that. And they were doing it off the coast of California. And one of them was just there, with the other guy. And he felt something huge move in the water beside him. And he never saw his friend ever again. Yeah. And, there was blood everywhere. And that's it.
I mean, he could have killed him.
I guess he could have killed him, perhaps. But I don't know if they ever found his body or whatever. But that is how terrifying a shark is. I think if it catches you unawares, a great white, you've seen videos of great white sort of breaching the surface as it attacks a seal, right? Like, you're stuffed if it's doing that to you.
Yeah.
But let's, for argument's sake, say we've had a bite, it's there. I'm going to go for the nose and eyes.
I think that's the sort of go-to advice, and punch it on the nose.
I think so, but actually, do you know what? I probably wouldn't go for the nose. I'd probably go for the eyes and the gills.
Oh, no, I couldn't put my fingers in its eyes.
Even in a life or death situation?
No. Oh, God.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
I don't like putting my own contact lenses in. I'm not going to gouge into a shark's eyes. It's lifeless black eyes. Doll's eyes.
They roll over white when it gets you.
Oh, no. I think that'd just piss it off, right?
Mm.
And what if it's, it's got other senses, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it'd die from poking its eyes out.
No, I think it would be incredibly painful for the shark. That's what I would go for. I'd go for the eyes and I'd try and ram like my fingers into its gills or something. I think you're really going to struggle to punch it,
Well, yeah.
Unless its nose is like right there out of the water, then sure, bang, bang, bang. But underwater, I can get my hand in its gills perhaps, and I don't know. Anyway, what about you? Is that your strategy?
I don't think I've got like a set strategy. If it was one of the little dwarf lanternsharks, I could probably take it. A great white. It's not looking good, is it? I mean, there's plenty of appendages to grab onto.
I don't think there are plenty of appendages to grab onto.
There's like fins.
You're not going to grab onto a fin, are you?
I don't know.
It's huge as well. Like, how are you going to grab a fin?
But like, I don't know.
It shake you off
Yeah,
like a rag doll.
Well, it probably would, but
When I type how to survive into Google, I get how to survive a shark attack as my first recommended. But it could
not how to survive a golf ball, an oncoming golf ball.
I suppose people don't have time to Google that.
No, well, no. If they could anticipate it, just like the shark.
Yeah, you could.
I don't think all these top Google searches are from people who are currently being attacked by sharks.
No. All right, should we go to WikiHow?
Yes.
How to survive a shark attack. Sharks rarely attack, but when they do, severe and sometimes fatal injuries commonly result. Okay. Scientists do not believe sharks attack humans to eat us. Rather, they bite into our flesh because they are curious to find out what kind of animal we are.
Right.
Kind of like how dogs like to sniff new friends, only a lot more deadly. Staying out of shark habitats is the surest way to avoid getting hurt. If you have accidentally wandered into shark-infested waters, however, you need to have a plan in place. Okay. Method 1. Playing defense. Do not take your eyes off the shark. Sharks have several different attack methods. Sometimes they swim right up and charge, sometimes they circle for a while. To be able to defend against the shark, you must know where it is. I do know that, actually. I do agree with that. I have seen videos of divers who've come across tiger sharks in the water. You know, they're not necessarily ones that are being aggressive, but they always keep their eyes on them because you do want to know where that shark is. You don't want to turn around and take your eyes off, do you?
I don't know. I might just try and avert the eyes, think about something else, and just get eaten.
Think about something else. Number 2, stay calm and do not make sudden movements. When you first spot the shark, chances are it will swim away without bothering you. Okay. You cannot outswim a shark. Can't. And you can't tread water indefinitely.
Well, it depends how degraded its denticles are.
From ocean acidification.
Yeah, maybe I could throw some acid on it.
If you had acid, yeah.
If I had some acid, yeah.
Move slowly towards the shore or a boat. Choose whichever is closest. Do not thrash your arms or kick or splash while you swim. That's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How are
so
you
not
swim?
butterfly.
Undulate like a sea snake.
Yeah, what's the best stroke? That should be breaststroke, I guess. I don't know.
Do not block the shark's path. If you're standing between the shark and the open ocean, move away. Do not turn your back on the shark as you move. Remember, it's important to keep the shark in view. Just reiterating there, point number 1 of this plain defense strategy.
Well, there's no swimming stroke that achieves all these things.
No. Backstroke, perhaps.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you've not got your eye on the shark there, have you?
No, got your eye on the sky.
And then finally, get into a defensive position. If you cannot get out of the water right away, try to reduce the shark's possible angles of attack. If you are in shallow enough water, keep your feet on the ground. Slowly back up against a reef, piling, or rock outcropping, or any solid obstruction so that the shark cannot circle around behind you. This way, you only have to defend attacks in front of you. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. That's defense. What we've really come for, though, is fighting the shark, which is method 2.
Yes.
Hit the shark in the face and gills. Your best bet, if attacked, is to make the shark see you as a strong, credible threat. Usually, a hard blow to the shark's gills, eyes, or snout, parentheses, end of its nose, will cause it to retreat. These are really the only vulnerable areas on a shark.
Okay, don't go for the fins then.
No. But gills, I'm glad I got the gills right.
Yeah.
If you have a spear gun or pole, use it.
No. No.
Oh yeah, fuck about that. A sharp object is a good way to inflict enough pain to scare away the shark. Aim for the head, specifically the eyes or the gills. If you do not have a weapon, improvise. Use any inanimate object, such as a camera or a rock, to ward off the shark. Okay.
Who's taking a camera? I guess people who are photographing sharks, but they deserve it.
They should have a knife on them, really. If you've got a camera, get a knife. If you have nothing around you, use your own body. Aim for the shark's eyes, gills, or snout. Fight with your fists, elbows, knees, and feet. Not
That
head.
sounds a lot like splashing to me.
Yeah, you'll be attracting more and more. Then keep fighting if the shark persists. Hit the eyes and gills repeatedly with hard, sharp jabs. Do not wind up before hitting, since this does not provide extra force underwater.
Is that like a cartoon where you put your hands behind you and just like Rayman, where you hold the circle button and it goes...
Like Bugs Bunny, yeah, like powering up your... Oh my God. You can also claw at the eyes and the gills. Keep doing this until the shark lets you go and swims away. People don't wind
I could,
up.
but I don't have claws.
Some people do. Some people have, false nails.
Wow.
That'd be good.
Yeah, fair.
Then number 3, escaping and getting help. Get out of the water. Even if the shark swims away, you are not truly safe until you are out of the water. Sharks may leave temporarily and then come back to continue the attack. Get back to shore or back on the boat as quickly as possible. Swim quickly but smoothly. Thrashing will attract the shark's attention again and disperse your blood, which could draw more sharks. Do the smooth reverse breaststroke.
I've never heard of that. I'm going to have to go on YouTube.
Reverse breaststroke, which requires less splashing than other strokes. And then get medical attention. If you have been bitten, get treatment as soon as possible. Can you imagine?
Well, no, I would just get on the counter of the reception desk of my hotel.
The hotel manager, yeah.
Smooth reverse breaststroke.
Get medical attention. No, I think I'll be fine. I've lost a leg. I've lost most of the flesh of my left thigh, but nah.
That's an anecdote, isn't it?
It is, I suppose it is. Even if your wounds appear minor, it is essential to get yourself checked out. Remain calm until you get medical care so that your blood does not pump faster through your body.
Easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've just swam 400 metres reverse breaststroke with half a leg off.
Smooth reverse
And now you're telling me to be calm.
Yeah. Funnily enough, this WikiHow article doesn't recommend...
Seek counselling?
The counselling, yeah.
Oh, that's...
Only for a lion attack, you should seek counselling. With a shark attack, you should just get on by, get over it.
I think we should add that.
Some of the community Q&A is quite good. Question, what if I scream at the shark? Will it do anything? Answer.
People are going to scream, aren't they?
Screaming at the shark will have absolutely no effect, except perhaps annoying and angering the shark. Question, should you look into the shark's eyes?
We can only really do one at a time, can't you?
The shark won't notice the difference. Eye contact is neither aggressive nor non-aggressive in sharks. In other words, they won't care less. Body language is more important to a shark. Anyway, all right, that's sharks. So thanks for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed the show, you can also follow us on Twitter and now Instagram.
Oh.
Yes. Links in the show notes, of course. And also YouTube for our short animated clips. But until then, fare thee well. Thanks and goodbye.